as Walter makes a run ahead of him. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp! That's magnificent! The move, and then this, which left Dabby's ass totally stranded.
Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland, show 147 of the day. And this time we've brought you something a little bit different. Rather than having an endless string of deluded gooners who think we're the greatest team in the world now, we're going to come down to earth with a bit of a bump with Seb, who's been on twice before. He's our resident Aston Villa fan, and we will be using him again later on in the season. And being an Aston Villa fan, he's excited for the season as we are, and he's got some predictions for us about the upcoming season and what's going to happen. So, Seb, how you doing?
It's always a pleasure to be invited back on. One of the highlights of the season, talking to you, so I can't wait to get into it.
I would take that as if you meant it. It's the best way to be. Right. So, how do you feel about the upcoming season for Aston Villa? Because you've kind of become probably one of the best six sides in the Premier League, maybe, with your form last season and a couple of decent players that you brought in.
Yeah, I'm not too used to hearing that, in all honesty. I've seen us through all the lows and not too many highs while I'm at it. Obviously, I'm too young to remember all the glory days as such. So it's quite abnormal to me going into a season feeling as though we could take on the world. I'm not sure whether I like it or not. But with added expectation comes added pressure, as we were talking about off camera. So I'm just trying to rein it in slightly because I don't want to become too disappointed if we don't end up winning the quintuple. So we'll just we'll wait and see. Take it game by game, how I like to say it.
Well, much like Arsenal, we're the best team in London. You're the best team in the Midlands. So at least you can grab hold of that. And I don't think that you're letting go of that anytime soon because Wolves are a mess. Birmingham look like they might be going down to the third tier. And I don't know if you count Walsall and who's the other one? West Brom. They're all a mess. So
the bar is on the floor. The bar is really low.
Just turning up and you've already in contention for being the best team in that entire area. Let's bring up the spreadsheet, and then you've already said you've had a little look at it. So share screen and then predictions, and then we will share this.
Yeah, I hope that's not cheating.
Move us down the bottom. So, as is customary, I'll just confirm your name is Sebastian Bacon, and your Twitter is at Sebastian Bacon number 8. What does the 8 stand for? Is that your favourite player, or you were 8 when you made it?
I wore the number 8 when I played. That's it. Sebastian Bacon was taken, so I thought, what could I use next? I actually wore the number 19 when I finished playing for Stilian Petrov, because obviously Villa legend at the time, and you know what he went through at Villa. But 8 seemed more appropriate.
Oh, we've actually got some people watching us, which is nice to see, because it's not really something that you're gonna tune in for all of them, but some of them have been. Your podcast, 7,500 to halt. Now, I have asked you this before. What does that mean?
7,500 to halt. That's a great question, and I'm probably going to get told off for not knowing or not remembering. It's been a long day. I think. You know what? I'm not even going to try and pretend I know the answer. I will get back to you on that one. When you next have me on, I'll make sure I know for you.
Just pretend it's the 7,500 bus that takes you to Holt, which is the newest bus to Villa Park. No one's going to know. When I've only been to Villa Park twice, and both times it was very windy and very
cold. Yes.
Yeah, I think we won the semi-final against Wolves with a Christopher Ray goal, and the other one we lost to Man United in the semi-final of the year that we should have won stuff, and we ended up. I don't think we won anything. Sad times, right? So, Premier League winner. What are you going to go for?
So my initial instinct was City. I think it sort of, you go into every season expecting City. While Guardiola's manager and at the helm, you can't really look past them. One of the doubts that was cast in my mind was the fact that they lost so much squad depth. this summer, and they haven't really replaced it as such. But you look at City over the course of the season under Guardiola, and they are just simply relentless, aren't they? And then you look at the other teams in the league, and you just don't really see that winning sort of mentality and the relentlessness, as I was on about, where you back them going into every single week. So I will have to say City on this one.
It is.
I'd love nothing more than to be proved wrong, though. I'll put it that way.
It is the logical bet, isn't it? So where do you think Arsenal are going to finish?
So I've put you down as third here. I wasn't sure how Champions League would fare for you with all the added games and you won't be able to rotate as much. And there were so many clubs that struggled last season that will surely have to finish better this season. So I've got you down in third.
I'm also going to ask you, because I'm going to have fans from other teams on, and I have in brackets, where do you think Villa are going to finish?
Oh, God, I hate this question.
I sprung that one on you. I didn't tell you I was going to do this.
Horrible. Because I don't want to put us too low, because then all the Villa fans will say I'm not optimistic enough. And then I don't want to put us too high, because I don't want to give Villa fans a bad name. I've said, as soon as the final whistle blew at the end of last season, I would happily take anywhere above 13th if it meant that we won the Conference League or won a trophy, even if we took the League Cup. I've never seen us win anything, so I was gutted that we didn't win the Premier League Summer Series Cup in America. That would have fulfilled me. So I don't want to say that. I'm going to say 10th.
Yeah.
Put us in 9th, actually. Put us in 9th.
That's good. It's one less letter. 9th. I think you can. It's going to go one of two ways of Emery. He's going to do his usual cup magic and get you into the Europa League next season, and the season after that, possibly the Champions League, because he has got what it takes, as we all know. Or if he's going to try and do a little bit of both, I reckon you've got the squad capable of finishing top 6, top 7. I think you're that good. I mean, a couple of really decent signings you brought in. I think you still need someone who's going to score goals when the young man who's an Arsenal fan, what's his name? You're up front.
Ollie Watkins. I
do like him. I always get him and Calvert-Lewin mixed up. I think one of them likes Arsenal, the other one don't, but they're always constantly linked to us. So I think you could be in for a good season. I actually bought Unai Emery's book, the English version of it, and it arrived the week after he got fired, and I've not read it. So
I think I remember you telling me that story last time as well.
If you want it, I will shred it and send it to you. So Arsenal's top goal scorer, and I'm going to ask you the Villa one, all competitions. Who do you think it's going to be for Arsenal and then Villa?
Now, this is where I open myself up to a lot of criticism, because there'll be mostly Arsenal fans watching this who have watched a lot more Arsenal than me and know a lot more about the club. Now, you sent it to me that said all competitions.
Yeah.
If it had just been the Premier League, I probably would have said Jesus. And I don't know why I haven't seen anyone put Jesus yet, because I would have thought that would be the logical shout. However, I didn't know whether he would play as much in the cup competitions. I don't know whether you can fill me in on that.
In the early stages, no, he won't be. But in the latter stages, when it is more important and we're playing it against a decent team, I would think that he will be Arteta's number one choice. But he doesn't really play as a striker. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We were saying earlier that it's odd that every Arsenal fan I've spoke to has gone for one of the wide men to be our top goal scorer and not Jesus in the middle or even Havertz, who I think maybe be playing games up front. So it's just he's more of a creative spark when he'll drifts left or he drifts deep, and then he'll swap places with Odegaard or Havertz or whoever is going to be playing in that role. And I think he's definitely scored more goals than he did last season. So who are you going to go for? Jesus?
I'm going to put Jesus in because everyone else has gone Saka, and those are my two options. And I don't want to follow the gravy train, so I will try and be original and say Jesus on this one, and hope that he sticks. Injury-free for you.
And are you picking Gabby Abognahor for your Villa one? I hate that bloke. God, you heard him on the radio. He needs to learn to shut up. He needs to stop doing radio is what he needs to do. They need to get you on because he's an idiot.
You flatter me. Yeah, I think Villa fans would probably agree with you on their opinion of Gabby. Problem is with Watkins is he's really hit or miss. And then with with Emery playing 2 up front, it looks as though it's going to be Moussa Diaby in that second role. But I don't want to put too much pressure on him because typically wide men who come to the Premier League take some time to adjust. So I am going to say Watkins, and let's hope that he scores enough to close down the record to Gabby. Maybe he can overtake him sometime soon, so we don't have that burden on us.
Yeah, well, I don't think that'd be overly hard because I don't remember Gabby being that good a player or scoring that many goals, or make that a little bit smaller. There you go, Villa Watkins, and I'll do the same with this one. So
I feel like I've gone with some basic answers so far. I don't like this.
Well, yeah, here comes your. What team do you hate most in the Premier League? Because for most of us, it's Spurs. So where do you think Spurs are going to finish? And
now this is a complete unknown quantity because it looks like Kane's going to go. So who knows? However, Ange has been successful wherever he's gone. I really like the style of football that he plays and that he tries to implement. Whether that will be successful at Spurs, I'm not too sure. And obviously, they haven't got any European football, so that will help them nonetheless. Now, I think Villa will finish above Spurs, but I've had Villa to finish 9th. So maybe I might have to change my Villa prediction because I've got Spurs down in 8th here.
Oh, so do you want to put 8th for?
Put 8th for Spurs, and then can you change Villa's prediction to 7th for
That's
me?
more like it.
Sorry, there's always one, isn't there, being complicated.
And our lofty ambitions is getting the better of you. You've only been here for 10 minutes and you already lost the plot. Now, FA Cup winner, I think your lot could be in for a shout with one of the 2 cups. What do you think?
I would love nothing more than to come here and say Villa have a great chance of winning the FA Cup. However, I was still in nappies the last time that we reached the 4th round of the FA Cup, let alone anything else. The only season I remember us getting past the 3rd round was when we got to the final. And I remember going to Wembley and ruining Steven Gerrard's day, which was brilliant, even more so with his managerial record for us now. That makes it even sweeter, the fact that we ruined, his fairy tale birthday on the FA Cup final. And then as a little kid, I remember rocking up to Wembley for the final thinking, Villa have won every game. This is going to be a roll in the park. And then I think we were 3-0 down to Arsenal at half-time. It might even been 4 at half-time. I can't quite remember. But nonetheless, we got absolutely battered, and that put me in my place and was a sign of things to come in the future. So, yeah, we don't really have a great history in the FA Cup. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to predict us, and I'm probably not going to be too popular for this answer, but I'm going to go for Chelsea.
Oh, yeah.
I am. I don't want to say City again because, again, it's too boring. I see Newcastle is on there. I think Newcastle will struggle this year. I'd like to see Arsenal win it. Big traditional club. Obviously, you've won the FA Cup a load of times. I'd like to see you do well. We'll go far in the competition. However, something's telling me Chelsea aren't going to be a complete flop like they were last year.
People are saying Villa can finish 6th. Mr. Waffles, Phil says 7th. Loki says 6th. I think there's a lot of love for Villa here. I mean, as a neutral, I've always quite liked Villa. I like the stadium. I like the way.
Come back on here more often.
Yeah, it's just. But wait until that's because we always smash you. But then you wait until you start doing stuff and beating us and denying us stuff and trophies and things. Phil says Spurs can possibly finish 16th. Oh, Si's turned up. That's not bad, Si. Thank you very much. So League Cup winner, what are you going to go with that? 2 of us have said Villa. Again,
I'd love nothing more, but I just can't sit here and predict.
You don't want to jinx it. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go for City. I feel like that is almost their competition now, isn't it? The amount of times they've won it. Again, I'm seeing Liverpool on there, which is another great shout. But although City don't have the squad depth, so can they compete on all 4 fronts again? I'm gonna stick with City. They're inevitable, aren't they, at this point?
One that you don't have to worry about not picking Aston Villa, Champions League winner. 2 of us have picked Arsenal, and absolute madness. So where are you going to go? You're going to go for the logical one, or you've got something a little bit different?
No, I am going to go for the logical one. I am going to go for Real Madrid. I was going to put Bayern Munich in with a shout, but then I remembered they'll probably have Kane, and it just feels inevitable that he won't get his hands on that trophy anytime soon, if ever. So yeah, I am going for the boring answer for that one, unfortunately.
Oh, that'd be fantastic if he goes to Bayern and then their winning streak of 10 or 11 Bundesliga titles in a row, mostly at the expense of my Borussia Dortmund. He goes there and they don't win anything for the 3 years that he's there. Before he comes back with his tail between his legs, like Teddy Sheringham, just without any trophies, and comes back to Spurs like all failed Spurs strikers do. So top goal scorer all competitions.
Yeah, I don't think you really need to ask me this one. Who didn't go for Haaland?
That was Mike McDonald, an Englishman living in America. He's a football coach of young teams, and he's a very wise man. He's a blogger, as bloggers tend to be. And he said, Nkunku, I can't see that when Nkunku is not overly good, but he does see stuff. He is wise, so could all be wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Haaland. I can't go for anyone else, really, unfortunately.
It is the housewife's choice, so we're going to slap that one in there.
It's the bookie's favourite.
It's been a while since you've been in the Championship, so I'm sure you might be able to remember how these teams feel, but what are your thoughts? What does it take to get out of the Championship, and is it going to be as simple as it's going to be one of the 3 relegated teams?
Weirdly enough, I loved our time in the Championship. Not while we were in it, obviously. I was desperate to get out, but looking back on it now, it is some of the most enjoyable times as a football fan that it has to offer. The highs and the lows of the playoffs. I remember losing to Fulham, knowing that we were on the brink of financial ruin and sitting there in floods of tears. And actually, a funny story for you is James Bree, who now plays for Southampton. His family was sat just a few rows down in front of me, and in order to try and console me at the final whistle, they offered me a Krispy Kreme donut, which I refused. And then obviously winning it the year after, there is just nothing better. However, I'm not envious of the teams that are in it at the moment, because looking at it, it looks a tough league to get out of this year. Now, my mind initially went to Middlesbrough. Obviously, they did really well last year. Carrick looks as though he's going on to really good things. And my good personal mate, Aaron Danks, is sat on their coaching staff. However, I looked at their squad and they haven't replaced their almost most important players from last year. You've got Cameron Archer, who I know all too well about, Zach Steffen in goal, Ryan Giles, who's now gone to Luton, and then another Villa player in Aaron Ramsey, who they just haven't really replaced or brought back. When you have really successful loans, I feel like if you don't bring those players back, you will struggle. So a bit like the inevitability when I said City, obviously Pep Guardiola's assistant coach has gone there now, so he will instill a bit of that into them. And the way they've recruited Aaron Ramsey, as previously mentioned, Harry Winks, Cody, I think that they will have enough experience to win that league.
So, who did you say you're going to go for?
Leicester.
Don't know what, I had a brain fart there. I'm looking at all the teams. I'm thinking, which one did he just say? Leicester. I agree with you. And do you think Vardy will stay there? If Vardy does stay there, that league's perfect for him. All elbows and jumping. He can get 40 goals that season.
It depends if he plays to his strengths, because you don't know how the new manager is going to play, do you? If he tries to instill that sort of philosophy that we've seen from the Pep Guardiola regions and Xavi and Vincent Kompany, then I don't know whether that would suit him too much. However, if you get the ball, you play it in behind the defence, there's no one you want running onto that other than Jamie Vardy, really, is there?
It is indeed. I'm just looking at that season that you won the playoffs. You were finished just below West Brom. That must have been brilliant to get above them. And Norwich scored 93 goals that season. And they've let Timo Pukki go, haven't they?
It was just, that season is just a complete up and down. From throwing a cabbage at Steve Bruce to bringing in a Villa fan as manager, having a Villa fan as captain, having a Villa fan who made the kit that year. It was almost as though it was meant to be. I remember it December time, and I think we'd just lost 3-0 away to Wigan, sitting in the stand, and I turned around to my old man and I went, finish the season now, start afresh next season, and we can push on and try and get promoted. Little did I know of what was to come. That was the year that Jack got punched as well at St Andrews. Everything just seemed to work out in our favour in the end. It was that of a fairy tale.
So how do Villa fans look at Jack Grealish now? Because he is what we thought Jack Wilshere was going to end up being. And it's taken him a while at City, hasn't it? But he's not a bad player, is he?
Begrudgingly, I love him. I love him. He's a Villa fan by trade, isn't he? The way he acts, the way he talks, I saw that little nod there. But yeah, look, he left to win trophies, and he struggled in his first year, but seeing the football that we knew he could play and him produce it on the biggest stage last season, it makes you feel a bit warm and fuzzy inside. However, I did actually boo him when he came back, because the season he left, I hated him. I thought, because we were just about to turn a corner, it felt, and then he left, and we had our whole recruitment where we had to buy a whole new core, and we really struggled, and I blamed him for that. But now that we've sort of got ourselves back on our feet, I can take a step back and go, you know what, he did the best for his career, and he still loves us. So I can't. He's gone and won the treble and the Champions League, so I can't begrudge him of that any longer.
Well, if he left to win trophies and he's won trophies, shouldn't he quite rightly come back now?
Don't
a cheeky 10 million bid.
Don't tempt me. Maybe in the future. I've spoken to a lot of people who work in various places, and they said it really wouldn't surprise them. But I hope that we are too good of a club where he doesn't come back as a retirement home. I hope that if he does come back, it is still in a competitive matter.
Like Ramsey going back to Cardiff. I mean, he's gone there to do sightseeing. I don't think he's going to have much luck in if he got kicked to death in the Premier League, good luck in the Championship, son. You are going to be leaving every game on a stretcher. Right, final one. What Premier League manager is going to be the first one to get fired?
Now, you specifically told me to get fired, not resigned.
Yep.
First of all, I'd like to say a special thank you to Watford to not being promoted, because that would have made my answer really easy. Now, if it was resigned, I would have gone either Lopetegui or Marco Silva, because obviously Silva has the rumours of going to Saudi Arabia, and then Lopetegui. Well, I mean, Wolves are a mess at the moment, aren't they? Yeah. I played a charity football match at the Molineux with a lot of Wolves fans, and they were really concerned about what's to come this season. And I can't see him staying there for long, especially if the finances don't work out. However, sacked. I originally put David Moyes down. However, he is already on here, and I don't want to, like I've said, I'll try to go for some different answers. So I'm going to go for a bit of a left field shout and go for Steve Cooper from Forest. There were some rumours last year that the owners were looking at alternative options. I mean, he is absolutely loved there. But I think Villa went through a bit of a spell with Dean Smith where he got you promoted. He just about kept you up on the last day or the second last day of the season, in Cooper's case. However, I feel as though the owners will be a bit impatient and will look to replace if they are not high up the league. So I don't think it would be a popular one with their fans, and I think it probably would be a silly mistake. However, I can see if they don't start well, I can see them becoming impatient and maybe pulling the trigger too early.
I think the thing with Cooper is that he is so ugly. No one wants to be in a room alone with him to fire him, because he looks like that bloke out the first RoboCop film. That stuff poured on him, he was melting.
Hey, I am not one to talk about another man's looks, especially when I look the way I do. So I'm going to stick out of this one.
Oh dear, but he's a lovely bloke, and he's done miracles with those, especially having 105 new players there, and he's got a big job there, and he's definitely a decent manager. So hopefully you're wrong and he'll stay there, but you never know. One final question about Villa. Who's that bloke who was Liverpool sold into Barcelona? Coutinho.
That's
what is going on with him? He was meant to be the saviour of your club, and now he can't even kick a ball.
Yeah, It's a shame because I absolutely love Coutinho. He came in obviously on loan, and we were sat in the stands and we were going, look, you can tell he's a cut above the rest. Excuse me. And the way he operated when he came in and the way he was scoring goals and he played with confidence, we all thought, oh, he's back. Coutinho is back. The one thing I'd like to think, if he doesn't end up going this summer, which I think he probably will, however, if he doesn't, I feel like Villa are in a position for the first time since he signed when we've got players to play around him who are on par, technically skilled, on par with Coutinho, and will be able to maybe bring the best out of him. I feel like before he probably knew he was a cut above the rest, so he struggled adapting, and it didn't help when you have your best mate who knows absolutely nothing about management telling you what to do.
The fifth highest paid manager in the world, I'll have you know. Did you know that?
Don't even let's not go there because it will open up a new ones. Yeah, if he stays and he doesn't end up going this summer, there is nothing I would love more than a Coutinho resurgence. And with Emery, who knows? Because he came in under Emery, and I remember he scored. Was it against you that he scored that goal at Villa Park?
Wonderful goal.
Oh, he's back from injury. Like, this is brilliant. He fits our style of play, and then he went and got injured again. So let's wait and see on the Coutinho one.
I think 31 years old. He was recently seen in B&M in Birmingham, picking up flip flops and a bucket and spade. I think he's been primed to go and join Gerrard over in the Saudi Pro Leagues. And good luck to him. I mean, he probably could do with a few quid. I mean, that £100 million move to Barcelona probably didn't even make enough money to feed his kids. Right, that's it. Tell people about your podcast and how often that you're on it and anything else that you're up to.
Oh gosh, you've put me on the spot here. Yeah, so we're on all platforms, all Spotify, iTunes, Acast, however you like. We try to record at least twice a week when the season is up. I have my own segment of the channel, which is match previews, which you have been on previously, where we try and get people on from the club that we're playing to, give us a bit of a different insight. So it's not all Villa based, and we're not all ranting about how amazing we are all of the time. We get different opinions. Next season, we're going to try and branch out into more in-person interviews, because I feel like that is more, you get a feel for the person more then, and it feels more personalized to the listener. So look out for that. Hopefully, I've got an interview with the Athletic Villa writer, Jacob Tanswell, who's just taken the job. That should be out in a few weeks or so. So keep check for that one. But yeah, feel free to come along, drop us a message, and we'll get as many of you involved as possible and hope to build a little community.
It is. It's a fun time to be podcasting when your team is doing well. And I said to you when we spoke, when you said, how will Emery get on? I said, he'll get you back, he'll get you into Europe. I didn't think he'd do it this quick. But I said he would bore you with the football. And has he started to do that yet? Or are you still in the honeymoon period?
We're winning games. So I would quite happily take 1-0 wins every single week, passing it around the back if it meant we were winning games. Winning games as a Villa fan doesn't come too often. So when it does, you've got to sit there and enjoy it no matter how you play.
I think he had a 20-odd game unbeaten run as Arsenal manager from the beginning of the season, including smashing Fulham 5-1. And Arsenal fans still go on about what a horrendous run that was. It was so boring to watch. I think some people are so spoiled. Mr. Waffles, who is going to come and do this, when is Mr. Waffles on? I shall go and have a look. Ding, 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 ding. He's not there. He's not there. He is going to be with us 11 p.m. on Saturday night, Mr. Waffles. And he is a bit of a hipster, living in Portland-ish, and so he's going to have some crazy predictions. Right,
I'll look out for that one.
He's a lovely man. I've been friends with him for many, many years. So if people want to go and find their podcast on Twitter, is at 7500, the word 2 and the word HOLTE, and Sebastian's Twitter is Sebastian Bacon and then the number 8. As always, I'm always very happy to have you on because you're a brilliant talker. And then most of my lot will look at you and the way you talk and the stuff you have to say. And if you're listening, you scumbags, take note. You're all fired because this is how you should do a podcast. He turns up on time, he talks sense, and he's a pleasure to talk to, unlike you scumbags.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind.
Just fired
Careful, my ego's going to get too big. I'm going to get told off when I go back to my channel.
I mean, if you want to become an Arsenal fan, you can come be on regularly if you want. Anyway, thank you very much for being on, and we will see you all at 11 o'clock is the last one. It's going to be Chris, the Lion Gooner from Florida.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
It's been wonderful to have you on. Right, I'm going to do the outro, end the show, and then if you're still there after, I'll have a little chat with you. Goodbye, everyone.
As soon as I scored that goal, I was fucking livid.
Get down, dog. Splendid business.
He nearly caught the bloody thing. What are you talking about?
So I was just eating a full quiche. Well, you don't often see them at Iggs, so when you see them in the supermarket, they need to be swagged, microwaved immediately, and get the brown sauce on and bosh, Bob's your uncle.